Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast. I am your host,
Chuck Manatee.
And in today's episode, we are going to be covering It. Welcome to Derry. So as usual, what we do is go through a few bits and bobs of interesting information, and then we'll watch the trailer and I will give you my thoughts. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So, It, Welcome to Derry is an upcoming American supernatural horror television series. So that's cool that they're actually going to maybe go into a bit more depth and show a bit more scary bits with Pennywise there. So this is based on Stephen King's 1986 novel It, serving as a prequel to the films It 2017 and It Chapter 2 2019. The series was developed by Andy Muschietti and Barbara Muschietti and David Fuchs, all of whom were involved in the It films. Andy and Barbara Muschietti, along with Fuchs, were developing an It television series by March 2022. After receiving a production commitment later that November, Fuchs and Brad Kane were hired as showrunners. The series was greenlit in February 2023. With Andy Muschietti attached to direct multiple episodes, including the pilot episode, and Fuchs as a writer. So the basic premise of it, in 1962, a couple with their son moved to Derry in Maine, just as a young boy disappears. With their arrival, very bad things begin to happen in the town. So as far as the cast is concerned, we have Bill Skarsgård, and he's going to be playing Pennywise, the clown. So I'm actually glad that he's going to be reprising his role, because he's really good in the movies. And, you know, the face, I'm sure a lot of people have seen him pull the face without the makeup. So he can get close to that creepy Pennywise face just with his facial expression. So it's something he can do. It's one of these, you know, tricks that he can do with his face. So it's pretty cool. So I'm glad that he's reprising the role. Very happy about that. But he's been in a few different things that I liked. I like the Divergent series. He was in Allegiant, which was 2016. Atomic Blonde, and then John Wick Chapter 4, where he was the antagonist. So, and obviously a lot of people know him as It. So I think that's his biggest role, besides probably John Wick, I guess. Then we have Taylor Page. Taylor Page is known for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom in 2020. I haven't seen it. Hasn't done too much stuff. And then a comedy drama, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. That was 2024. So but Taylor Page is going to be playing Charlotte Hanlon. Just so you know. And then we have Chris Chalk. And Chris Chalk is playing Dick Halloran. So he's known as, he's played Lucius Fox in the series Gotham, which I quite enjoyed in the beginning. It kind of fell flat a little bit as it went in more and more into the series, but the way it started was really good. I actually quite enjoyed that. And he's also played in The Newsroom. So, And then we have James Remar. And James Remar has been around for a very long time in movies. But he's playing General Shaw. But he started his acting career with On the Yard in 1978. I thought that would be interesting because he's been around for a very long time. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, he actually played Raiden. there was an older movie I was thinking of Judge Dredd. So that came out in 1993. No, 95. I beg your pardon. So he actually played a block warlord. So yeah, he was actually just one of the crazy guys that was fighting Dredd in the beginning. Yeah, if you haven't seen that, I've mentioned on the show before, do yourself a favor, go watch that. He also played Agent Markham in Too Fast, Too Furious. I quite liked him in that. So I know him from those movies specifically. So I'm just speaking about the movies that I know him in for the most part. Blade Trinity, he was in that. He played an FBI agent. Can't remember the name though. And then in Red, he was Gabriel Singer. That was cool. I enjoyed Red. But he's been in a lot of good movies. X-Men First Class, Transformers. I wrote a few down, and yeah, so he's an Oppenheimer. That's the most recent one that I thought was quite good, if you enjoyed it or if you didn't. But it was a long movie, not exactly the type of movie that I'd like to watch all the time. It's not my vibe, and I don't believe it's Ben's vibe either. So, because he really hated doing that. What do you call it? The review for that. He really didn't enjoy that movie. It's one of the ones he's been hard on this channel, so that was quite funny. Then we have Jovan, I think that's how you say it, or Jovan Adipo. Yeah, so he's going to be playing Leroy Hanlon. So that's obviously Charlotte's husband, or whatever the case is, or son. I think it's probably son. Beg your pardon. So yeah, he's been in a few different series. Jack Ryan, They See Us, Watchmen. So yeah, so those are his sort of acting credits. And then last but not least, we have the youngster. Yeah, and his name's Blake Cameron, and he's going to be playing Will Hanlon. So that's obviously that I would imagine is definitely a Charlotte's son. So there you go. But he's been in two things. We Grown Now. I haven't watched any of these, and The Sound of Christmas. So I actually don't know any of those two. Haven't watched that. But yeah, very young actor. So cool. And which is obviously applicable because, you know, there has to be kids in this for it to basically, you know, cause chaos with. So that's the premise of the books anyway, and the movies too. So yeah, as far as this, the release date, so It's Welcome to Derry is scheduled to premiere on HBO on October 26, 2025. So that's in 3 days from the time this video will come out. So not too long to wait. So if you have access to that, then you can start watching it in just 3 days. So that's exciting stuff. But without any further ado, let's have a look at the trailer, and I'll give you my thoughts afterwards. So this is the trailer for It's Welcome to Derry.
Holy smokes! No way! I love these!
All of the tunnels are underground, where none of the children will ever be found. They wandered away to join the show and lost their way in the world below.
Fear. It settles on every living person it touches like a fog.
They joined the circus and left their town. Now they live here down with the clown. 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 Down with the clown.
And that was the trailer for It, Welcome to Derry. So yeah, that was pretty trippy. There's a song that plays in the beginning of it. Obviously, I just want to talk about the beginning where you see the HBO logo, and then you see the iconic red balloon, which is something that's one of the tools that he uses to lure kids in with, amongst a bunch of other things as well. Yeah, but there's a song that sort of builds as the trailer goes, and it's really cool. It sounds like it's called Down with the Clown, but the percussion part of it is actually really cool, that it almost sounds like they're using a heartbeat as a percussive instrument, and then there's no music, and it's just a young innocent voice singing somewhat sinister lyrics. You know, the way it's nothing, you know, ultra creepy, but it's not exactly what you'd call Innocence. It's like Innocence if they had to write something crazy, you know what I mean? It's like they're just talking about this situation, and you know, very much the premise of the show within the song, and then it builds, you know, and then it adds the strings and all sorts of stuff as it goes. So I thought that was quite cool as a build to start showing things. But let's go through said things. So, you know, obviously as I go, the song builds, so just keep that in the back of your head. But you've seen the trailer, so you know what I'm talking about, so you can have a look. But yeah, it starts off there on some sort of watchtower. This one kid is very excited about finding this airplane. That said airplane takes a detour into the sewers, which is where most of the crazy stuff starts in most of the movies, to be honest. But this one has a very different look, so it's not like a sewer on the side of a road, you know, where the water could sort of go into, or whatever the case is. It's one of those round ones, it's like a bigger one. It looks like the military is involved in this in some shape or form. I think they're trying to figure out, you know, I would imagine that they're trying to figure out where the kids are going, or whatever the case is. And two of these military guys run into it. You see his finger pointing out there, and it almost looks like I think it's Lincoln. Is it Lincoln? Might be Lincoln or Lincoln or Washington, one of the two. But it looks like one of the US presidents, the previous ones, because you can see the hat and the way it looks up. I'm pretty sure it's Lincoln. But yeah, it looks like that, and it comes out with all the creepy face and whatever the case is. Then you get the first look at James Remar. Yeah, so he's a military guy, so they're obviously involved in this as well. A lot of mist and old sort of look and feel, so I don't know if they're going to tag this into like something prior to 1962, maybe to say sort of like his origins, so to speak. Because I mean, if this is a prequel, then the question that you'd want answered is kind of like, how did it come to be? Like, how did this entity come into being, you know? And I hope they have a really good reason for it, because, you know, the force of nature aspect of it is a lot of fun. It's like, that's where the story starts. So prequels have a very difficult time, and I think that's why a lot of them don't hit the mark, is because they kind of got it. If you've got a story, it starts where the good part starts, and it ends, you know, when the story is technically finished. So prequels got a really big hill to climb, because they got to obviously fill the shoes of the original writings, and then come up with something really good, you know, to obviously figure out, well, where did this come from? So I'd actually like that question answered, but in a very cohesive way. So they got to be really on point in answering said question, because if they don't, you know, then it kind of falls flat. So they either got to just stay away from it, but I'd really like them to dive into it and potentially give like an origin story. So I hope that is something that is in the pipeline. It would be fun to know where it comes from. You get a few creepy scenes, you know, the people floating about, and it walking slowly through mist and stuff, and you can see his eyes have like this glowy, yellowy orange. You see the balloon again and a few other things. I like the scene specifically where you see a whole bunch of fire behind him. It's like, looks like a house or something is on fire, and you just see almost like, you can see sort of colors, but you see the silhouette mostly. But then you see those orange colored eyes, which is, you know, adds a bit to the creepiness. Then you just get a whole montage of people being possessed in some shape or form. and monsters and people running from him or whatever the case is. Towards the end, you get a good look of it, which I like, and that's because I didn't really hear about this until today. So I was looking for something exciting or interesting to talk about to you guys, and this popped up on my radar, and I was like, okay, well, let's see what this is about. I thought maybe it's the third one, you know, like a trilogy kind of thing. But again, I'm glad that they're doing a series about it, because in a movie you can cover so much, but if you do it in a series, sorry about the dogs, if you hear them barking, I do apologize. But with regards to like a series, you know, you can delve a lot deeper into the backgrounds and the stories of certain characters, etc., etc. So that's something I think might be of interest. We'll see how it pans out. Yeah, and then you see him rushing the camera with his scary teeth, which is the part that freaks me out the most. With his big scary teeth and stuff, especially when you see like multiple layers of teeth. That really freaked me out in what I think it was the very first one. Yes, it was the first, not the one. I'm talking about the first Skarsgård version. So that was really creepy for me, with the multiple layers of teeth and stuff. But it's a very, very creepy horror concept, so that's why it can work really well. So let's see how it pans out. As far as the trailer goes, I'm impressed. Nothing strikes me as worrisome. Again, the only thing I hope that they do is really maybe talk about his origin, but not just a quick fix, as in like, you know, I don't mind if they carry on with the story straight away and then maybe go to sort of flashbacks where they're talking about his origin maybe in the 1600s or medieval times or whatever, like whenever he came to being, and then just drop back into that, and that ties into the current story. I think that would be a fun idea, but it's not my show, so we'll have to wait and see, I guess. So 3 days, so not too long, and then we can watch. So yeah, so let me know what you thought about the trailer and today's show. Pop that in the comments below, as well as showing us some love by liking, sharing, and subscribing. But that is it for today's episode of the Everything Podcast, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.